Purity Villa-based goodies. I'm joined today by Aaron Clark and Neil from the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, which is always an absolute mouthful to get out. And I'll start with you, Aaron. Disappointing day. You kind of felt like in the second half there was something there for us, but we've given ourselves an absolute uphill task with the first half performance.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You know, it's one of them games where I think we were just not at the races, and I feel like we say that a few times over the last kind of 3-4 weeks. You know, we just haven't been at the races, and it was exactly the same today. You know, just players not giving us what I thought they would give us. You know, and we've been so used to coming up to the last kind of 2-3 weeks. You know, yeah, it wasn't there, mate. Wasn't there. Big players like Barkley, big players like Louise, big players like McGinn. And no coincidence that they're all playing in the middle of the park. I thought weren't there today. You know, and when you're playing a team like Leicester, you need a midfield, and you need a solid midfield doing what they should be doing, and that wasn't happening today. I mean the replacements that came in for Cash and Grealish on that right hand side were entirely obvious, you know, and we really struggled down that right hand side. I thought Traore was good today, showed moments of sparkle. As the maverick that he is, but yeah, we just lacked it, mate. I thought Mings was okay. Konza looked a little bit off the races as well. And what can you do? And Watkins again doing what he does best at the top, but there's nothing around him to play with. And I just thought we struggled, mate. So yeah, we left ourselves a big task, going 2 goals at the first 22 minutes, I think it was. You know, you can't be doing that against sides like Leicester. You know, you set yourself a massive mountain to climb to come back and get anything out of the game. Getting a goal back after the first half into the second was a bonus, but we didn't look like scoring anything else from there, mate. You know, and the players to step up today didn't. Al Ghazi, you know, again, he looked lost the first 45 minutes. Barkley wasn't doing anything, offered us very little. So, you know, they're the players that you need to be relying on when the likes of Jack are out, and they weren't there today. So, you know, there's not a lot of scope for much else to happen, really.
No, I mean, I think you summed up quite well there with quite a few things that were wrong in Villa's game. And Neil, but obviously it's going to be a shorter post-match part today because, being honest, I want to watch the football at 4:30 and Villa have lost, so I'm not a happy boy. Set up today, I feel we made our own problems. I'm sure a few times this season we've gone to 4-3-3 or 4-1-4-1, however you want to look at it, and it didn't work because whenever you expected a midfielder to be on the scene, they just weren't there.
Absolutely, it's like 4-2-3 doesn't suit having both McGinn and Barkley play as 2-8s. You know, it just doesn't work that way. They can't do it. You see, Barkley was he was just very static in the middle of midfield. First 10 minutes, actually, I thought he chased everything. He stayed in between Ndidi and Tielemans, which was very good. Then he began to regress backwards, come back to the field a small bit. And he just doesn't get involved enough. He just doesn't have enough spark about him or energy, or, you know, he doesn't close down enough people. He's certain, like, I don't know, has he ever gone off his feet to tackle since he's joined Aston Villa? But look, it's not his game, so why would we expect him to do that? I just think that maybe it's probably time, you know, that if we are going to play that 4-3-3, and I think it can succeed, but if we are going to play that 4-3-3, that Nakamba would be the logical choice in there. But look, it didn't happen today. We saw in the second half there when things were kind of changed up a small bit. Sanson came in just a small bit more industrious. Jacob Ramsey's a player, guys. Jacob Ramsey is a
I'd
player.
argue he could come in if we played 4-3-3, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a player. He had 17 touches and he was only on the field for 13 minutes. Barkley had 55 touches, which wasn't bad. And, you know, he didn't, when he got the ball, he was getting them in disadvantageous positions for him. But, you know, if you extrapolate up Ramsey's touches for the amount of time he was on the field, he comes out at probably being our second highest touch getter in the whole game, you know, and he was only on the field for 13 minutes, but he fizzed about the place. I like the look of him. He stretched Mendy. It was Mendy and Ndidi were there at the time. He got in between the two of them, stretched them left and right, which is something we just didn't get from Barkley. And we played better in the second half. And I know that it was a 15-minute poor patch in the first half. And if I was being honest, we've had a couple of games where we've had 15-minute poor patches and just been really kind of taken to task, and this was another one of those games whereby midfield just couldn't get anything couldn't get near the ball, weren't protecting the 5 yards or 10 yards in front of the D, and then And, for Madison's goal, the ball was just played in there very, very easily. And, we really only have ourselves to blame. It's not one of these games where we go, we could have had something, the ref was bad. It was, we were caught cold. We were caught cold for 15-minute period, and we conceded 2 goals. And what more can you say, really?
Yeah, Aaron, let's have a look at that first goal. Let's try and unpick it a little bit. As I said when I was giving a question to Neil, people will look at the defence, and the defence could have got closer, could have done more to block the shot, perhaps. But I'm looking at it and just saying, Maddison's playing in Leicester's midfield, and there's not a midfielder anywhere in the picture. There's just gaps all over the place. And Martinez has got a hand on it. It's a good finish. It's right in the corner. But where's the midfield? The system for me, everything comes back to the system today for me.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. So what for me was there, I saw a lot of people saying, Mings should have been closer to him, should have brought himself forward. But for me, that's not a Mings issue. Mings is exactly in the right place. And our DM, Louise, needs to be clearing that stuff up. And he wasn't. I would expect Nakamba in that same position to be clearing those sorts of things away. And Louise isn't at the moment. And that, I think that was the big kind of obvious error for me in that position. Martinez gets a hand on it. A little bit more of a hand and it goes via the post. It's one of those goals that Maddison is going to be doing all the time, and for me, Maddison showed exactly there what Barkley needs to be doing more of, doing those little things from outside the box, making those little pass kind of shots into the back of the net. And he wasn't doing that today, but Maddison, fair play to him. He's a quality player, Maddison. And also, days of old, I would have seen McGinn sorting all that stuff out as well, despite the kind of more forward role that he's playing just in front of Louise at the moment. I would expect McGinn to be clearing those things up, and he just wasn't today. We didn't have that defensive anchor in front of the back four that we really need at times, and particularly against sides like Leicester, that just wasn't there today. It's a great goal, mate, and you can't blame anyone else but ourselves. It was an error that we need to start clearing up, and we're making a lot of those stupid mistakes. Or maybe they're not mistakes. Maybe they're just not things that we're doing as well as we should be. So for me, it's a good goal, and I think our heads dropped so very quickly when that goal went in, and you could see the players after the ball was taken out the back of the net. They all looked really cheesed off. But nothing else can be expected if you play football like that and you defend like that. Inevitably, that's going to happen.
Yeah, Neil, the second goal. I mean, Villa have still got that bad habit when they concede one. Invariably, they'll go and concede another. It's been happening since we've been back in the Premier League, even though this season's been very, very good. When we have lost games, usually once one goal goes in, another follows pretty quickly, and it's happened again today.
Yeah, it's and look, before I would have said something like it's maybe a lack of leadership in there, and in defence, I don't think it is. In this instance here, I just think that Leicester made hay while the sun shined. We were in a bit of disarray in midfield at that stage. That goal, the more I look at it, the more I see that, that the 34-year-old or 33-year-old El Mohammadi kind of gets caught a small bit flat-footed, and you just don't have the reactions to kind of to work with a Harvey Barnes when he's coming at you like that to try and get in around you, especially for the first ball that comes in.
Hello, hoping we're back. Might be, might not be. I mean, we're using a company called Restream. At the moment, I'd say it's more like No Stream because we seem to be having problems every week. But we might be back, we might be not. So we'll pick up where we left off. I can't remember which one of you was talking about the second goal. But yeah, that bad habit that Villa have of once they concede, another one comes straight away now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's look, I'm not going to say it's endemic, but it's something that I thought initially it was a problem with maybe leadership at the back, but it's just not. Leicester just went for the jugular, I think, with this one. They knew that they had a mismatch in Harvey Barnes on the left-hand side. Elmo was still feeding his way into the game. He was a small bit out of position. He'd been caught once or twice, not too badly, but caught once or twice for pace down that left-hand side previous to that. Got caught flat-footed. Just for this goal, especially with the initial ball that came in. And Harvey Barnes does what Harvey Barnes seems to do at the moment. I kind of have a small bit of egg on my face. I was speaking to a Leicester fan this morning, and I mentioned that the one thing that Villa do brilliantly is that we stop those crosses coming across the box like that, and also that we defend the 5 yards in front of our the D of our box. And they're the two things that we just didn't do for both of those goals. So I look like I've got a bit of egg on my face after that. And, Villa the system again kind of needed to backload the midfielders towards that position. And it just didn't happen again. But, Harvey Barnes' movement at that back post was fantastic. And he got his goal. Martinez did really well to save to save the initial piece, and Barnes just came in and just slammed it into the back of the net. What can you do really in an instance like that? But to get caught with both of those goals in such short succession is never nice, and it always leaves a sour taste, I think, no matter what team is playing. But for Aston Villa, it seems to happen probably more often than not.
Yeah, it's certainly happening more often than it should be. And Aaron, a few players have been mentioned so far in this post-match show. El Ghazi, El Mohammadi. I think Villa have got a slight problem at the moment. I'm not knocking anyone, but when certain players are missing and when players are coming in, there's a drop-off in quality, and we can't really afford for that to happen in certain games. And I think today was probably one of those games against a very, very good Leicester side with some very good players.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Today was, for me, the first game truly where we saw the lack of quality that we have when it comes to our subs and our squad players stepping up to replace those boys that aren't available. We all knew that we were going to miss Jack today. That's inevitable. He's one of the best players in the Premier League. There's no doubt about that. If a player like Jack comes out,
yeah,
you're gonna miss him. But I think today, Elmo comes in at the right back, and I love Elmo. Don't get me wrong, but the quality just isn't there to keep up with the Premier League standard. And the youngsters that are coming through now in other teams across the board, they're just running rings around players like Elmo, and Elmo just can't keep up with that standard anymore. And that's maybe his fault. Yes, he's Mr. Reliable, or was Mr. Reliable. I don't think he is Mr. Reliable anymore. I think today he was caught out on numerous occasions, and I think we need better for sure. El Ghazi, I've said it from the start. I said it from the first season that we had him, that I didn't think he was the right player for us moving forward in the Premier League. I don't think the quality is there for him. He's so inconsistent. His attitude for me is debatable. I don't dislike the boy. I've seen the boy put some great shifts in for us in momental kind of events for us, in key goals here and there. But the quality is just not there. We need an upgrade on both of those players down that right-hand flank. So when the likes of Jack and when the likes of Cash aren't available, we do have that quality stepping in. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. I think today also showed the real need for strengthening a little bit more than we did in January, because we were only halfway through the season. And the season is a long season, and we've got a long way to go now. We're not going to get relegated. That's not going to happen. But, if that European dream, if that top 8 dream that the boys keep talking about in the AVTV interviews and the manager keeps buzzing on about is going to happen, we really need to start putting our fingers out of our bottoms, because we're losing valuable points here against teams that we should really be competing with. Maybe not so much today. Leicester are a great side and have done very well this year. And players like Neil just said, Harvey Barnes, what a player he is. Madison, great player. Tielemans, what a central midfielder he is.
He's very good.
Indeed, we were up Ndidi, another great player. We were up against it today, no doubt. Even with a Vardy off his normal buzzing kind of wasp mosquito-ness at the front there, even with him off his game today, we just couldn't compete. We need quality. The summer will be a very interesting 2-3 months. I can see us bringing in the quality down that right-hand side. We have to. And I think there's almost like a call as well, Dan, for I admire Dean Smith. I admire the coaching staff. Don't get me wrong, but there are moments where I really struggle to see what Dean Smith is seeing when the boys are playing out there, and what really needs to happen and what changes need to happen. For me, Sanson should have come on 60, 65 minutes at the max and had at least 25, half an hour to make an impact today. But he came on at 81 minutes. 9 minutes late for the boy to make it's far too late. Sanson's a great player. He's a quality player. I think he could have made a difference had he come on 20 minutes earlier than he did. Ramsey again. Both of them on at 60 minutes. Let's change things up in the middle. Let's confuse Leicester a little bit. Let's pull some surprises out the bag, but just didn't seem to do it at all. And then you had the inevitable Trez on for Anwar on for Trez. It's so predictable. It's so blasé. It's the same thing every week. So we need to change that around, mate, for sure.
Yeah, for me, I don't think Trez can play left-hand side. I think it's right-hand side or nothing. I think you have him out on the left, he just runs into blind alleys. It's. I don't think it's really his game on the left. Get him on the right. It sounds simplistic. I said it to you in a WhatsApp group, but he just has to run in a straight line, and I think that suits him a lot more. Get in the box, try and get on the end of stuff at the back stick. I don't think the left-hand side suits him at all. We did get the goal back at a good time as well, Neil, which I guess is one of the frustrating things because you've got a whole half then to try and get the equaliser, but Leicester shut up shop when Maddison got injured, stuck Mendy with Ndidi, and really we never looked like breaking that down, did we?
No, and they even brought on Daniel Martyr as well in the second half, so
And
I think
Chowdhury.
And Chowdhury, yeah. I think Brendan Rodgers was mindful of the fact that they played a hard game on the Thursday night against Slavia Prague, and look, I suppose if we look at it from the point of view of break down to 20-minute kind of segments as such, first 20 minutes we were okay up until the goal. Second 20 minutes we were rubbish. Third 20 minutes we weren't so bad, and then actually I thought we didn't play too badly in the second half. The second half was quite okay, especially when we made the changes. That last 15-20 minutes was that was positive from Aston Villa. We broke down we broke through the centre and switched the ball left and right quite a bit. Yeah, we didn't have any end product, I suppose, really. And you mentioned about Trezeguet there coming on, but like the thing about Trezeguet for me is that you don't bring him on to change a game, but
that's what we tried to do, isn't it?
Yeah. So like I think hindsight is 2020 in situations like that. That if Bertrand Traore could, I don't know if like he's left-footed, but it seems like we never really want to play him on the left-hand side, which is okay. That's fine. It happens quite a lot. But starting Trezeguet, maybe allowing him to protect and Mohamedi might have been the smarter thing. But look, hindsight is 2020. Bringing him on to change a game, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure at all. He just hasn't got the goal scoring form that he did last year. But I think on the balance of power, the last 20 minutes, Leicester were fading and we were coming into the game. And I think we have to take that positive away from it. It's a bad defeat from our point of view, especially the first half we put down. But I think maybe there were some changes made. There was a couple of maybe choice words said at halftime, and I would have liked, as Aaron said there, to see the guys come on maybe a small bit earlier, see if we could have affected the game, because we were 2-1 down and we kind of got out of jail with that goal early in the second half, because we certainly didn't look like scoring and it just kind of came out of nothing. But as the game went on and we got a bit more of a foothold, I think we played a small bit better. You look at any of the stats, the passing stats, the touch stats, everything bar shots, we were neck and neck with Leicester, and I suppose shots win games, especially the ones that go in the back of the net.
I think for us, just quickly, Dan, if we'd have had Jack and Matty on that right-hand side today, that last 20 minutes, we probably would have had our second goal. Because for me, that's where we needed that quality, because it was happening on the left. Trez was giving it all he had. Traore was still doing really well. Matty Target was moving forward as often as he could. And I think for us, if we'd have had the sparkle of Jack and the kind of consistency and the reliance of Matty Cash at that right place, we may have got that goal back. A few better crosses in the box, a few more passes through the middle, and we might have been okay. But it wasn't there. And so, Neil's absolutely bang on. It was just too late for the boys to come in at 80 and 81 minutes. There's not enough time to make any impact, mate, really.
See, I kind of felt like Leicester. I disagree a little bit. I kind of felt like Leicester would just thought, we're comfortable here. Let's not take any chances. We'll just sit in and soak this up because Villa aren't going to break us down. And that was kind of how I saw it. As I say, I don't. Apart from the Mings header at the end that flashed wide, I never really felt like we were going to get that equaliser. I just didn't think the quality was there today. I thought it was sluggish all over the pitch, passes with not enough weight on them. And when you're trying to go forward and you probe and you're trying to get a goal, things have got to be bang on. And all day, I just felt like things like weight of pass, timing of pass, and obviously Jack not being there, it does play a part. But doing the basics, I felt like we just didn't really do the basics. And either one of you can answer that back at me.
I agree. Like the basics were missing definitely in and around the Leicester box. That's where we missed Jack most. There, those little slide passes, those little you mentioned you nailed it, Dan, with the way to pass. The way to pass at times was poor. Even I suppose even just the quickness of thought in and around there. We were very, very slow to deliver the ball. We were very slow,
Yeah,
especially in the
ponderous.
first half. Yeah, the first half it was just the exact same thing all the time. Try and get it down the left wing into that position where Jack would be. But when you don't have somebody who can skip past the player, you don't have somebody who can maybe draw players towards him. It just didn't work. It didn't work with El Ghazi there, and there was a couple of times when Ross Barkley kind of tried to come on the overlap with El Ghazi, and we were just drilling low crosses into the box, hoping to get corners. And look, we do nothing from corners again. There was
we haven't taken a good set play since Traore took one for Concert to score against Brighton at home. Honestly, set pieces are dead.
They've been, I put into our message group message saying we're going to get a penalty from a corner because that's the only way we're going to score from corners, you know. But it was one of those ones. It just didn't. That first half certainly didn't work for us. The 4-2-3-3 certainly didn't work for us, and I think that's one that if you were to ask Dean Smith, you know, I think he'd probably say that didn't quite get it right on that one, and that's okay too. Not having a crack off him or any of the players. That's okay it's okay to say that, but like I think we were a much more structured and more disciplined side, I think, in the second half from, you know, especially when Jacob Ramsey came on. I'm all in on that kid. I just really loved what I saw from him today. I've loved what I've seen from him every game this year, and if he's to be the future in that midfield, well then look, give him his big boy pants. We're not going to get relegated. See what he does for the rest of the season.
Exactly right, Neil. Exactly right. I think Ramsey, for me, on today's showing and the showings that he's had coming off the bench in the last 2-3 months, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. I would think it's unlikely, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him start the game against Leeds for sure. It'd be nice to see him getting a start and showing us what he can do on a more 90 minutes basis. You know, for me, Barkley has to be the one that drops, I think, for the next game, just based on the performances of late. You know, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I love him. He's a quality player. But today he looked a bit disinterested as well. And when he came off again, there's that little bit of attitude, you know, that little bit of, I don't know what it is, you know, passions. Does he really want to be here? Is he really invested in what we're doing? And I'm not so sure after today. I'm not so sure. But Ramsey absolutely is. So for me, he gets the nod for the next game.
I mean, I've come into a little bit of stick on social media, as is the normal way, and I've defended Barkley today. I didn't think he was good, but I will say I didn't think McGinn was much better, if better at all. To be honest, I just think the system hindered the whole team, and I actually felt sorry for Louise. I know I keep harping back to this formation. I'm obsessed with it on this show so far, but I thought he left Louise completely outnumbered. I thought he got swarmed in the midfield. In that system with Barkley, who is not a number 8, never has been a number 8, he's a number 10. That's that, in my opinion. You're going to find yourself isolated and you're going to have midfield runners running onto you. And I don't really think Louise had much he could do today. But for me, I just keep coming back to that setup, guys, because I think it was wrong.
Yeah, tactically, I think it was. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's cost us today, because I believe that's what cost us the first goal, because there was no midfielders on the scene. There was no midfielders on the scene ever when a loose ball popped out throughout the entire game. I mean, you could argue that when Ramsey and Sanson came on, they were both playing as number 8s as well. I don't know whether we changed it up slightly and Ramsey was a 10, but it looked like they were 2 8s and they added a bit of energy. McGinn looks tired, and I think Barkley isn't that type of player. So when you're playing 4-3-3, it's got to be different personnel for me, and that didn't work today.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's good.
I do as well.
So I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that disagree with me completely. And like I say, I have defended Barkley. I mean, a few games ago, he obviously scored the winner against Southampton. And there is games where we've won because of a moment of magic from him. But there's something missing. There's something not there. And there's something not right with the midfield at the moment. And I really don't think that changing formation today helped that at all. The good news is, lads, is that the next game is against Leeds, who are an absolute bundle of energy. So that'll be a good one, won't it, Neil?
Yeah, I've actually... Look, something that we didn't kind of mention today, and I don't expect them to get a game against Leeds, but we had Carney on the bench. We had Kane Hayden Kessler on the bench. I really want to see Kane Hayden Kessler. Actually, do you know what? I nearly like to see him against Leeds. Just throw him in there, get him follow Jack Harrison around. Like I genuinely think that, you know, there may not be anything to be lost with that. With